because they are priceless. It's more than any money can ever buy your minutes. And if you're going to waste it on Instagram, you're going to waste it on Ferraris, you're impressing people like Bobby used to, I am telling you, you're in for a ride that you don't want to ride.
So, you want to be rich, but you don't know exactly what to do. That's exactly why I started interviewing people to reveal their secrets, to figure out how they did it or how they plan to do it. Last time, we met a guy who was in his 20s and he only made $25,000 a year. But he's an investor and he wants to make it. But today, we meet Bobby Castro. He's a self-made multi-millionaire business mogul who, despite having a 9th grade education, created a $1 billion business, and he exited and now has $400 million in real estate. And he started the whole thing with $25,000. Today we go behind the scenes to figure out what makes him tick, how did he do it, how did he start, and how did he scale. Sometimes people like Bobby Castro, they share with you their knowledge. Why? Because they want to. Because what they see in you today is what they were once a long time ago. And they want to pay it forward. They want to help out. And so this is where Bobby Castro agreed to come on this channel and share his knowledge. So guys, take notes because this is going to be a good one. Sir, thank you so much for making the time to come on this podcast and this YouTube channel. When I first encountered you on The Passionate Few, I was looking at your interview and your wife was there. And, I was showing it to my wife. I'm like, you have to see this because this man came from nothing and unbelievably went to $1 billion company and has a $300 million portfolio. You know exactly how people feel who are at the ground level. You're a man of the people, the way you speak, the way you present yourself, and the way you sort of come up and try to grab people and say, come up with me.
Beautiful comments. I appreciate that, Aman. Thank you.
So take us to when you were in 9th grade and all of a sudden you decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to be doing my own thing. How does a teenager think about that? Like, how do you make that decision? And knowing that the safest path would be to, hey, go to school, get yourself a degree, go get a job and try to get, work your way up. And just like almost all of us are doing, how did you decide at 9 to just leave and then do your own thing?
Great question. And I don't know the exact true answer to it. I just know something happened to me. And all I can do, thinking back and looking back, Aman, I come from a beautiful, big family. I love my family. My father has 14, 15 children. He met my mother when she was 27. He was 50. He was a postman in the Bronx, New York. And my mother was 27. She fell in love with my father. He fell in love with my mother. But he had a big family. So it comes with a lot of personalities, a lot of passion, I call it. And it bothered me, to be honest with you, because it was a lot of, at times, arguing, a lot of friction, a lot of drama, just like a lot of all families are the same way. But mine seemed like they had a lot of it. And I just got not exhausted from it, but just I wanted to be away from it in some way. And my mother was the one. I mean, I didn't even see it. My mother seen it. I didn't speak until I was nearly 7 years old, believe it or not. And when I told my mom in the 9th grade, Mom, school's not for me, because teachers, Aman, used to get very frustrated with me. And I still have the same problem. Sometimes I have to ask you 3 or 4, 2 times, the same questions or a different way to better understand what you're asking or trying to teach me. Right. So I used to raise my hand a lot, and teachers back in the public system, they're managing a lot of children. Their patience are at times very little. So they used to get frustrated with me thinking I was giving them a hard time, but I really wasn't. I just wanted to know more, but I knew school wasn't for me. And I told my mom that, Mom, I don't want to do school no more. I want to go work. It took my mother not even a minute to say, absolutely, go for it.
Wow.
And so, I would love to ask my mom that same question you just asked me, like, Mom, what were you thinking? Because the ninth grade was junior high, Amon, back then. Today it's high school. Wow. So I can't even imagine for my children. I mean, my two children went to college for the first year. They thought school wasn't for them, and they were 100% correct. And I said, come on in the family business then, but at least you have the experience, you know more about it. But I don't know what happened, Amon, other than I wanted something other than the chaos. And I say that in a beautiful way because a lot of my family members must hear some of the podcasts or some of the things I talk about. And I love my family so much, but at times it's a lot of distractions that just drain the energy and all your non-refundable minutes. That's so much you're caught up in it. And then you're living the exact same life that your mom and dad lived, and you wonder why you're stuck too. And I got frustrated. I limited a lot of distractions, which was very tough for me. It didn't happen overnight. Trust me. It took me a long time, but school wasn't for me. I felt like I wasn't getting no value.
Like Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, And I've been punched in the face quite a bit. My dad was one of those guys who was a hard worker. He's the kind of guy who basically would give you the shirt off of his back, but he didn't know anything about finances or anything like that. So in 2006, we lost our house, and here all this is happening. I'm understanding more about finances, and I realized, hey, we're under huge amount of debt. And then I had to figure out a way to get out of it. So I used my schooling and my just everyday just guerrilla tactics of hounding people to get a job. I got a job, started working, and as the market and the everything was crashing down, I was going up because of my jobs. I was like saving money, and results from that was I was able to save up money to buy 2 houses, which was amazing at the bottom of the market. And then I was coming out, but my stock portfolio, I was naive and I lost almost all the money in 2014. I recovered back by changing my tactic in 2015. I didn't give up, and today I'm about at 1.6 million or 1.7 million. Yeah, it's one of those stories, and we came from nothing to now. And when I hear your story, and it's just mind-blowing how you are scaling. And my next question was, so I've been able to do what I can to get to this point, and believe me, this is currently our family net worth is probably higher than the combination of every single generation before me, which is a lot to say because there wasn't much in terms of monetary net worth that my parents and their parents had. So we're sort of this first generation to figure out we're getting how do we invest, how do we go forward, and so what I wanted to know was, in your mind, what are the skill sets, what are the things that you need to do to get your first 100K? Because a lot of the people that listen to my channel are like those people who are barely getting started. They're trying to learn basics of investing. And so what do you do to get to your first 100K? What are the different things that you do to get to your next to get to your 1 million point? And what are the things that you have to do to get to your 10 million point and beyond? Because I can certainly guide people through that initial period to about 100K to about 1 million. But beyond that, I'm in a linear, a bit of an exponential growth. But boy, the growth you've had it's beyond what I can currently envision, and I want to get some of that from you. What do you think? How do you get there?
Excellent question. What worked for me and what continues to work for me, Amon, and how I was able to scale in a massive way, and in some may think unthinkable ways, but it's really was easy. I got to the point where I got myself to call it $1 million, and then it just stayed parked, just flatline.
Yep.
There was no growth. There was nothing. I started realizing I got there because I was totally focused on getting there. But what happened was we only have a certain amount of capacity, time. There's so many things we can do at one given time. And unless you look for human capital, like-minded individuals, and this is where it comes up where how you invest your non-refundable minutes. And my crowd, as I got older and older, my circle, I was so focused on that at times it hurt me, but helped me. I was so focused that I say, don't get distracted. You start living this world, then it's all about you. where you're going. That's where you want to be at. So if one of your viewers are listening and you have $1,000 in the bank, $100 in the bank, it's okay. Get like this, laser focused on taking care of yourself, the good, bad, and ugly. Because unless you are taking care of yourself, you're never going to do anything for yourself. So when I did this, it got me from broke to $1 million. But then when I stayed like this, I got stuck at $1 million. Then once you contract, you got to start now opening up a little bit your circle only with like-minded individuals that can help you scale. Then I had to become a leader. I had to really show that, hey, I got results based on this. I need others, and I shared into the success with others to get them motivated. It's called putting the golden handcuffs on them. Every entrepreneur never wants to share in the profits with their coworkers. I don't call them employees or coworkers. Those 600 people that were my co-workers when I exited for that $1 billion business that we started with zero, no investors. We raised no money, including for our real estate portfolio, nothing like that. Sophie and I, my wife. When you get like this and you become so healthy and you're so focused, you have your core values, and you know exactly what you want out of life. You want to have just a good quality of life, and you want to be a leader, because my theme is about legacy for my family, my grandchildren. Then I was so stuck that I had to start looking for human capital, another Bobby. That's when you hear me talk. I'm always talking to another Bobby, because I know they're out there. All you need to find is another Aman, spend time, invest in another Aman, then get another Aman. That I blew up to the point where I only became a leader within my organization because they were the ones building the company. I was the one lifting the morale, finding another Bobby, finding leaders. So you build leaders. That's how I did it. So unless you're able to, like on your trading, and it's just like Ray Dalio, how he built Bridge was scaling human capital. Ray Dalio only can do so much. Yeah. And unless Ray Dalio brought some superior team aboard, Bridge would not be worth $26 billion today if he didn't leverage other people that had his core values, but he built the core values within his organization. So if I was a trader, as you are, you already have it. You have $1.6 million. You're on your way. You have no clue what life is going to be delivering to you, only if you're able to make others successful by doing it. If you don't have that as your number one core value, making others successful, it comes to you. If the compound interest is unbelievable, everybody's a dot person. They just want to think about the me, I. Think about the compound effort, and imagine being surrounded with 5 Amans.
It's incredible. Your passion is like, it's energizing me right now.
Because I'm so excited and because it's so clear to me, Aman. It's so crystal clear. Wow. And my heart stays true to the ground because I'm never going to leave there. That's my core value. Because I see what happened to me, how I was able to touch other people's life when making them a millionaire. Can you imagine the feeling of making other people become a millionaire that came from the same struggle as you and I? There's no better feeling. There's no better success than that.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like what you mentioned about focusing, getting focused, doing, and then to get to your first million and then opening up. And boy, I can admit to you, I do have trouble with opening up. And by the way, in 2015, I had to switch tactics. So I'm no longer a trader, but I'm a index investor. So I'm projecting at being at about 7 to 10 million when I'm retiring. So that's where I've learned from Warren Buffett, from John Bogle and those guys. And so I've had to completely change tactics after getting this gut punch where imagine half of your net worth, which was inside of a stock portfolio, just goes away within a week. And then a little bit of money was left, and that money was my parents' money. And I clicked exit only because I didn't want to lose my parents' money. And I froze for a little while. I shared the story on my channel because people need to understand there is a risk behind it, and it is a business. And if I can do it, you can do it. And here's how.
I agree. And you obviously are learning this. It's managing risk. It's not taking risk.
Right.
A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of beautiful young people, it's about managing risk.
Right.
taking risk comes with life.
Gotta take a risk.
Me getting in my car and going home, that's a risk.
Yeah.
It's managing the risk, putting the seatbelt on, knowing what to do, when to stop, when to go, how to pivot, how to shift, how to adapt. And when I hear people, and I love doing podcasts with individuals like yourself, because it reminds me so much of when I was at that 1-6. I was there, and I hope it doesn't happen to you like it happened to me many times when I got there. It wasn't the first time. I made some horrible mistakes, and the biggest mistakes are the best learned. Those are the most profitable when you learn it the first time. Don't repeat it.
Yeah.
And I tell young people, if you get to the $1 million mark, you did something good. You got your core value. How did you get there? If it did not come from work, then you're nowhere. A lot of people I see, I was just on this young individual, Amazon automation. I have zero clue what it means or what it is. The young individual is making so much money. Beautiful, beautiful heart. Bobby, I want to invest. I want to put I have $1 million. I want to put it with you in real estate. I said, well, I don't take investors. I'm just so busy doing my thing, but you can do it. But then I said, hey, let me ask you a question. Where did you get the $1 million? You're such a young person. Oh, from my business. I said, well, what do you do? I said, you know what? Real estate, go ahead and get information. Forget about real estate right now. Go back to your business, fertilize your business, grow your business, reinvest in your business, wait for real estate later on. Do not take advantage. Do not take that business for granted. Do not get distracted like Bobby did. When I got into real estate, I lost $80 million just because I had the money of my successful business that I was not paying attention to. Oh, wow. I lost it like you did in stock because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yep.
And I bought $80 million worth of apartments, lost it all, went back to that business that I neglected because I wasn't paying attention to them on, to go ahead, pay attention because I had to put out the fires. And then I realized, my gosh, I have an incredible business. That same business I sold for $1 billion. Can you imagine if I paid attention?
That's amazing.
I could have sold it for $2 billion.
It's funny that you say that, because all the stuff that my attention was on, my daily attention, every single day I was trading back then, right? Back in the day. And my entire attention was to that. Like, I was just constantly reading newspapers and all that. I lost like upward of $360,000, $400,000 by doing all that. But the property that I bought at the bottom of the market, the one property that I bought is up $570,000. The other one is up was up that I sold was up $200-something thousand. And I'm thinking, I didn't do anything except buy these two things, But this whole other thing, I spent years trying to make it, but it didn't make me anything at the end. But now it worked because it taught me a lesson that what I was doing was wrong. I had to change. So I take it as a lesson. It was an expensive one, but the biggest per deal, gain that I made was in real estate. And I didn't do anything but go and say, hey, I like that one. Let's buy that one. That's it. It's amazing.
Real estate, Amon, it's crazy. Everybody how today, Sophie and I, my wife of 30 years, we have now over $400 million worth of apartments, leveraged correctly, and we continue building on it. And a lot of people, and they say, Bobby, and I speak to a lot of awesome young people that are into selling, buying real estate, just like stock. They're just, what I do is very boring. And that's why, I get frustrated with people. I'm saying, guys, it's boring. It doesn't have a lot of action because I'm a long-term holder. I buy at the right time to buy. I buy the right investment. I don't convince myself to stretch that it's a good investment. And in the long period of time, this compound effort delivers you this Hawaiian wave of hundreds of millions of dollars of efforts you made a long time ago. So I tell my real estate brothers and sisters, real estate, the true wealth in real estate is very boring because it's long-term efforts, long-term wealth. Everybody wants it now. Yeah. They want to stick that needle in there. Oh, give it to me now. Yeah. And they want to skip the process of getting wealthy. And I get so passionate. I scream because I'm saying it's so clear to me what you should be doing that you're not doing, but you do know what to do, but you just can't do it.
so right. This is how index investing works as well. And I get frustrated when on my channel, people are like, but what do I buy right now? I'm like, well, I'm setting you up so that within 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to be a multi-millionaire. Like, yeah, but how can I make money right now? I'm like, so it just gets really frustrating. I want to move on to a new topic, and I want to get your take on this. So there's a resource called Pew Research Center, and they did some research around the wealth gap in America, and increasingly it is widening. In fact, the upper and the middle lower class, it's been widening steadily for a very long time. And the main culprit is asset ownership, right? And your story is incredible, and it's all about asset ownership. What I want to see is, what are your thoughts on the wealth gap of America? One thing that clicked in my head was like, they don't own any assets. So when you don't own assets, you are totally you are basically being led by the economy versus leading your way out of the, whatever the economy is doing. And so I noticed that as the economy was going up and down, my net worth would always go up because I owned assets. And I realized one day, oh my God, I need to tell this to people, that assets let you just not only ride the bad times, but grow in them. What are your thoughts about the wealth equality in America, and with the limited resources someone has? And remember, somebody could have almost nothing, right? Remember, most people don't even have $400 to cover an emergency bill. What can you tell them? How do they start?
Well, first and foremost, I was one of those individuals where I grew up and my family grew up. My mom is Section 8 government housing.
Oh, wow. We
had a dining room table, a bed. It was all rent-a-center. You pay weekly. And you're going to see this unfortunate trend, more separation, more gaps going to happen, because there's good assets to own and terrible assets to own. But you and I, and anybody who's listening, we are the best assets. So when I hear people saying, I have very limited resources, Bobby, I understand. I did too. I have only $100 in my account, because you saying $400, you're being very generous. I have $100 in my account. Yep, me too. But you still have you. You still have the power of, you see this device, this keyboard, this internet. You can control it, or it can control you. And what happens is, they're so distracted. I keep going back to, I sound like a recorder, distractions. So many incredible young people I speak to. I like speaking to schools. I spent 2 months going to South Asia and Africa. I have been through villages. Talk about no resources. If you live in this country and you're struggling, you have a lot of resources, knowledge, opportunities out there, but yet these young people do not fall victim of being distracted because you're stealing your non-refundable minutes. What you have to do is what Bobby did. You have to get out of the zip code, get into a new zip code. And what I mean by that is that all your friends, your family members, a sensitive topic, Bobby's family members had the same information Bobby had, and we were all stuck. There's nothing wrong by getting new information. The only way you're going to get out, you're only going to be exposed to new information, Bobby, is to get out of your circle. You have to be willing to get out of the circle to be exposed to opportunity and resources. And what frustrates me, Aman, and the reason I'm not a fan of school, in high school in particular, they should be teaching these children how to balance a checkbook. What does a checkbook mean? What does an asset mean? What does a rental mean? What does a job mean? What does a benefit of a retirement means? What does compound interest mean? They're not. And it's never going to change unless you get into Bobby at the 9th grade and start teaching them that. Because guess what, Aman? I truly believe 7 out of 10 children don't like going to school. At least in the area I grew up, we just didn't enjoy it because it had no interest, because we knew there was no chance for me after 12th grade to go to college. My mother was a waitress, 3 full-time jobs. I had to help my family. That was out the window. So it's at the stage of 9th grade to senior high to teach them the fundamentals of the importance of why you and I, people like you and I that come from that same era, why are we doing good? How did we do it? It started there. And if they would have showed me in the 9th grade, maybe I would have still been in the 10th grade. And maybe I would have went on to the 11th grade. And guess what? Maybe I would have had my high school diploma. So we will see this widening, this separation, which breaks my heart. Because people, it's right in front of you, but you're so distracted on Instagram and your friends and, oh my God, the Mercedes. But what about you? What are you doing? Because the only way you can get opportunity and attack opportunity is get knowledge, but you got to take action. Knowledge is worthless without constant 24/7 action. And again, being by yourself. Nobody wants to be lonely. And you'll hit a wall. Okay, now it's time to expand. But you got to get there first. Everybody don't want to be lonely. And I'm telling you, I see my nephews, my nieces, they're all falling victim to it.
I did the right thing, right? I went through the school. I went through colleges. I got myself a math minor, a computer science, software engineering degree, MBA. And when I got out, guess what? I had no job prospects. No one wanted to hire me because I was a candidate that had no experience. Because as a person who's not born from here, my parents didn't have that much money. I had to work 2 jobs in my 20s at all times, and also had side gigs. And so that's how I paid for schooling, and then of course the government helped here and there with some grants and whatnot. And so as I was doing this stuff, trying to pay for my school, I didn't have time to do anything else, like a internship, for example. The school was like a map. Somebody told me, go here, attend these things, then go here, attend to these things. And it was like a treadmill. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to keep walking. It's very easy, right? But then when you shift on to the market, to the pit that the market is, right? Where everybody's trying to compete, you are not ready for that. And the financially, you're not ready for that. You don't have any financial education. You're so right about teaching compound interest, teaching how to budget or anything to do with finances. When I got out, I was in debt and I was thinking, what do I do next? So I found a consulting company that would take me, beg them. Went in, my stomach would churn because they were talking about things I had never understood. And they were using language that I couldn't ever understand. And that's one of the key things that I learned in life. When you're feeling like, oh man, I'm scared. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're saying. That's it. That's the best thing, because that means you're growing. Yep. If it's something that you already know, that means it's like a linear growth. You're going to go up slowly. But if you're learning something new where it's like you're kind of scared, I feel like that's exactly how you should be. I was scared buying those 2 houses because like
everybody's saying don't buy a house. I went to the bank lady, the teller, when I was trying to buy those 2 houses, said, "Are you crazy? Everybody's getting out of houses. Why are you buying?" I told her, "Are you crazy? Why are you not buying? This is 2009 that we're talking about."
And Aman, you hit it on you hit it a home run there, because that beautiful young lady, that teller, she's stuck in that same world where all her friends and family live, and that's all they know. I'm telling everybody, got to get out of your circle to be exposed to new people where you're forced to say, "Good morning, my name's Bobby. Oh, how are you?" You're sitting there being overwhelmed at a network event like I used to just sit there, not understand but it's the only way to meet people, because they were not coming to me. I was broke, I had no money. I had to go there. And if I go there, you want to go somewhere you're not there, because my whole family get a job, get benefits, and live a good life.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
But you cannot complain later on in life that you didn't have opportunities or that. This is a time, young people, get out of your circle. These are awesome people. Tell them one day you'll see them on the rebound, but you have to put yourself in a network where you want to get into real estate. Go to the biggest conferences. They're free. The badge will cost you $50. Sit there, force yourself. "Good morning, Bobby. My name's Bobby." And they're going to ask you, "What do you do?" Say the truth. I'm just looking to get in real estate. I'm broke, but I just love real estate. You'll be surprised with good people skills, with full transparency, how this ecosystem starts building around your life. That I'm like, gosh, and it feels good.
So that's a key insight. Go actually attend the physical, seminars or whatnot. Even if they're talking about stuff that maybe you don't have an interest in, maybe you don't understand. It doesn't matter. Just go.
What I did, Ahmad, I met some incredible people in my life. I keep talking about people skills. You have to get in. You have to. You're not being a sellout to your friends. You're growing in life. Unless you're shedding, you're not growing.
Right.
Everyone needs to continue to shed in order to grow. You got to be kind to people. That's what people skills is. I've never been a jerk in my life. Never been a jerk. But most of the time I win at the negotiation table because the power of kindness is extremely powerful.
So how do you grow? How do you open up? So I'm at that stage. I'm like an egg. I don't have anybody around me. I'm just me, right? And I figured some things out. I looked deeply inside and said, hey, what I was doing was wrong, and I changed things. And now I understand how my mentality is, how I want to proceed in the future. I have enough so that I can probably do what you're saying. So how does someone like me, where there are some people in the audience that are like that, how do we expand? How do we trust the next person we see?
You have to go to the next level. Say, for example, Sophie and I, we built a $300 million personal net worth. Again, raising no money. Everyone's so shocked at that. We continue. We're so obsessive, always personal, growing personally. We now want to take our legacy from 300 million, Aman, to 1 billion.
Wow.
And even me, I would say, okay, I got myself to 300. Yeah, I can do this. Whole different world. The numbers seem like they're kind of close. It's totally different. There's going to be so many different strategies, so many different ways to hedge, so many new things. So I have learned many years ago to be humble, be vulnerable, and surrender to the fact that I don't know this next stage, because I always tell people, start at the stage where you're at, Aman, until you hit the ceiling, and make sure you hit that ceiling before you pivot to the next stage. Do not skip to the next stage without fully exceeding that original stage, because you're skipping so much of the process. So how we're going to do it, we are now surrounded by a new group of people, awesome people. They're close to 800 members, almost $90 billion in personal net worth. These are individuals that have exited companies many times, not one time like my wife and I, that have substantial amount of more assets, but it's a whole different game at every different stage. And the group we belong to, and I was blessed last year to spend some time with Richard Branson, with about 25 other individuals on his private island. And well, Bobby, how do you meet those people? Again, go to networks. Oh, well, it started way back. Bobby started many, many years ago. It wasn't just meeting Richard Branson from one day to the next. So you join these organizations, I'm big on networks, on, okay, how am I going to get 300? Because I'm having a hard time right now. At 300 million to go to 400 million.
Yeah.
I know it's some work there, and I didn't realize it. Now I'm starting to realize it. But now I'm exposed to different strategies. A different way the model works at this higher level is no different from 1.6 to going to 10. After 10, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different hedge. It's a whole different strategy. It's a whole maybe different asset class. You just don't know. So the group that we belong to are incredible people. We meet once a month, and beautiful people that love to give back. We're really big on charities. We do believe on helping communities that really are very limited on some areas, especially single moms. So what I would propose is always shed. Now you've been stuck at this 1.6, shed, because you already have the information that got you the 1.6.
Yep.
It'll probably get you to 3 easily. But sooner or later, you're going to hit the ceiling, and you can't keep living there.
Nope.
You can't keep doing the same stuff. You got to now go here.
Yep.
And maybe it's more riskier, maybe uncomfortable, but as you mentioned, the uncomfort is where the best unknowns are.
Absolutely. So you're driven very much, and most of us are not going to be able to even imagine the kind of lifestyle that you can lead at this point, and probably in the future. Is there a difference between, say, a millionaire to a couple of multimillionaires to the mega 300 plus millionaire net worth? What's the difference in lifestyle that one leads? Like, is it more of something, more better housing, or is it at some point you're just like, well, it's just a number and it's just sort of a personal goal thing rather than acquisition of assets or material things?
For me and Sophie, we're not flash dancers. We're not the ones that it's not important in our life. What's important in our life is the legacy I want to do what you said that your parents or your generation didn't do before you. I want to make the sacrifices now. So when my grandchildren's children's, and when somebody says, wow, your family's name's on that building, how did that happen? My grandbabies call me Papa. They call Sophie Mimi. Papa and Mimi started this.
Yeah.
So that is where we get turned on. We don't get turned on. My favorite watch is a G-Shock. I'm not a material guy. I love creating. I get excited about creating. I don't like to spend money that I don't get a return on the value. So Bobby, what's the difference at that level? There's really no difference. The difference is maybe I can invest more. Maybe my tolerance has gotten higher to create more of my net worth. The lifestyle, man, when I exited my business, my cubicle was right. I had a cubicle. I was with my co-workers. I'm like that today. It doesn't do anything to me. The lifestyle for me now. So other people have a total, and that's what's great about each of us. We're so unique. But for me, it allows me to have that constant appetite to fight more for my 100-year plan. We've hired some incredible people, life coaches, because we are in this 100-year plan. We're in 100 years. Sophie and I want somebody to mention our name in 100 years from now.
Wow.
And that is better than driving a Ferrari. Do I have the fine things in life? Yes. Is it a big difference? I'm telling you right now, it's overrated, guys. For me, it is. I mean, I'm just excited to constantly create. I'm excited on my new challenge from 3 to 1 billion.
Wow.
And at the same time, making others successful, at the same time, giving back and helping others. And boom, man, magic creates itself.
So growing up, what was your dream as a kid? What did 10-year-old Bobby Castro want?
My dream was to be rich, and my mom, man, before Denny's, it used to be called Sambo. She worked on the graveyard shift. She got off at 7 a.m. After you and I went to a wedding, that beautiful waitress, that was my mom. She walked home, didn't drive home. There was no car. A few hours later, went on to their second job, waitress with a new outfit, walked to work, and at night came home for a couple hours and then went to the Rolling Pub Steakhouse in Miami Beach. And my theme was always, Mom, I want to buy you your house. Same thing with you, Aman. Same thing with all of us. We are inspired to give back to our families. And I never lost who I was, man. At one time, some years back, I did. I was that old Bobby. I cared about what he was driving, what other people said, how to impress others. I thought that was the way to magic. And it was a friggin' disaster in my life. And then I started realizing, you know what? I am the problem. I am the solution. Let me pay attention to me because I have a lot of work to do on me. Once I stopped getting distracted, once I started investing my non-refundable minutes, because they are priceless. It's more than any money can ever buy, your minutes. And if you're going to waste it on Instagram, you're going to waste it on Ferraris, you're impressing people like Bobby used to. I am telling you, you're in for a ride that you don't want to ride.
Time is the biggest asset.
If you don't have those resources and you come from a tough, beautiful family, tough, I say financially, as I did, rest assured, Bobby, dude, you are the best investment. You're just not giving yourself that much credit.
Incredible. You know, it's your story about your mom, it hits home, and I totally understand why you would want to take care of your parents and you want to be there for them. And like my dad, for example, when he went to Germany, he couldn't even sleep on the benches because police would kick him out. When he first went there, he didn't have any friend over there. He couldn't remember their phone number or something. He slept on a tree. He drank from a fountain. People that are born in America just don't understand this, you know. And when I heard those stories, and how, like, you know, the kind of crazy things he had to do to survive, like picking up bricks and things like that, you know, labor work, you know what I mean. And it's just there's no way in hell that I would ever turn away from my parents. Like I I would go hungry before they didn't have enough to eat. I would make sure that in my life that I get them out of the situations they're in if it's a bad situation. And in the 2009 crash when they lost their house, they lost everything. But I'm happy to report that we turned it all around. They're positive net worth, and they're living in that house that's gone up like $500,000. And it's all been a crazy story. And he didn't have the financial education, but he just had that thing where he put one foot next to the other. And I'm so happy that he kind of instilled that in me, which is like hard work. You just keep going. And I can see that you are full of that kind of energy as well.
Yeah, man. This whole COVID situation, I hear you talk about this country's the best country. You're so right. I mean, and this gap separation of the wealth, and during this COVID, Sophie and I did extremely well. We bought special situations, call them distressed. They weren't distressed financially, but they're special situation. And when you're able to make millions upon millions of dollars by understanding opportunities and seeing them versus being distracted, this COVID is sinking people, and other people are it's going to be so much wealth, Aman, that will be created because of this from people that were not getting distracted and staying true to the core essence, shifting, adapting with trends. You cannot continue to do the old stuff. Because guess what? It's a whole new world. Unless you're willing to bend, surrender, you're not shedding, man. If you're not shedding, you're not growing. And that means your personal net worth is not going to grow. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be depressed. I mean, it'll swim around you. And all I can tell people, I like to talk about this COVID, do not get stuck by not growing. Things are shifting. Things have accelerated. Technology just has accelerated 15 years in the last 8 months.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you get in tune with it, you're going to fall behind, and you should not fall behind. You have technology behind you.
Yeah, incredible. Thank you so much again, Bobby, for sharing your thoughts. BobbyCastro.com is the best way to learn more about you. Is there anywhere else you want to direct people to?
My son created the website, BobbyCastro.com. He has an Instagram, official BobbyCastro.com. This was my beautiful son's idea to help me get through the transition of my business I sold, and I love him for it.
Thank you so much, sir, for your incredible time and your passion. And you do it.
Energy. You're a good person.
Same to you, sir. And you exude energy, and I love the fact that you do it just out of the goodness of your heart. And it's you and Gary Vee are like my two, North Stars that I want to constantly keep my eye on to make sure that I'm going the right way. Thank you so much for your time. I will take your advice to heart, and I will figure out what to do next, because I agree with you. I am in a position where I need to grow further than this. So I will definitely do that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Aman, when you have a chance, try to join an organization, YPO.
YPO, okay.
YPO. I belong to an organization, Tiger 21, which is they're all different. I think YPO is it's going to be a great fit for you.
Okay.
They have them all over the States. They're for Tiger 21. So they have them in categories. So Tiger 21 is X amount of net worth and all that.
Okay.
YPO, you're going to do very well. You're going to meet some amazing, beautiful people like yourself, dude. Okay.
Thank you so much. I had no idea what that is. I will definitely go research that.
Awesome. Thank you, bud.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Much love. Bye-bye.
Punch the like button, you motherfuckers!